You're watching Football Daily, and this is our list of 10 teams with no history. 10. PSG. The newest European giant, PSG were formed in 1970, and since Nasser Al-Khelaifi's takeover in 2011, they have been the dominant force in French football. The result of a merger between FC Paris and Stade de Germain, a bunch of suits wanted to form a successful football club in the French capital, and more than 20,000 people even petitioned for the club's founding. Starting in League 2 in 1970, the outfit quickly built up a large following, and got promoted to Ligue 1 in the first season. Trophies didn't come for PSG until the 80s though, with their first domestic honour being a Coupe de France in 1982, with their first title coming in 1986 as they pipped Nantes by 3 points. Led by the likes of Rochetal and Susic, the club's stars eventually transitioned into George Weah, David Ginola and Yuri Djorkaeff, with their second title coming in 1994. Remarkably, despite having players such as Ronaldinho and JJ Okocha, the Parisians didn't see league glory again until 2013, and have since won 4 on the bounce. 9. FC Krasnodar. The rise of Krasnodar has slipped quietly under the radar across Europe. Now a regular in the Europa League, the club on the east side of Russia was only formed 8 years ago, and their rapid rise can be credited to their club chairman, Sergei Galitsky. Obviously a Russian billionaire, Galitsky made his money through Magnit, which has become the largest retailer in Russia. When he set up Krasnodar, they were in the 3rd tier, and their first game was a bore draw, but nevertheless they still gained promotion in their debut season after finishing 3rd. 2 years later and they were in the Russian Premier Division, thanks to a 5th place finish and financial difficulties of the clubs above them, and it wasn't too long before they were in the Europa League as well, and have qualified for the competition ever since. Due to the success of Krasnodar and the surrounding area, Galitsky has been recognised by the Russian Football Federation for the development of the sport in his homeland. 8. Nordsjaelland. The Danish side gained fame in 2012 when they scraped a 1-1 draw with Juventus in the Champions League. But the more incredible thing was that the Wild Tigers were only formed in 2003. A rebrand job by Alan K. Pedersen, the previously named Farum BK, were embroiled in controversy and bankruptcy, as previous owner Brits Toft, a Danish MP and mayor of Farum, used taxpayers' money to sponsor the football team. 10 years later, Nordsjaelland secured their first league title, pipping rivals and future entrants on this list, Copenhagen, to the Champions League by 2 points. 7. Club Tijuana. Managed by the nutty Miguel Herrera, Tijuana are enjoying a great season in Mexico. Finishing top of the Apertura and currently leading the Clausura, it could be a historic season for Los Solos as they were only formed in 2007. The first professional football club in Tijuana, the Mexican side were founded by Jorge Hank Ron, a man who was once arrested by the military who found 88 guns, 9,000 rounds of ammo, as well as numerous exotic animals, but unsurprisingly, his son now runs the club. Away from the politics, Tijuana have found reasonable success with their young age, winning the Apertura in 2012 and were even invited to the Copa Libertadores. There they reached the quarter-finals before eventually being knocked out by winners Atletico Mineiro. 6. Ludogorets. More commonly known as the victims of Mesut Ozil's wonder goal in the Champions League, Ludogorets have gone from nobodies to the dominant force in Bulgarian football within a matter of seasons. 2 successive promotions took the Eagles to the Bulgarian top flight, and remarkably, they've won every title since. Though this isn't really an underdog story, as their owner, Kirill Dumashev, is actually minted, and in the 15-16 campaign, they spent more than their entire league rivals combined. Dumashev, funnily enough, was a devout supporter of CSKA Sofia, who are the most successful side in Bulgarian history. His new team, Ludogorets, are currently 26 titles behind Sofia, but if they keep up their nous of bringing in Brazilian talent, they'll surely be getting closer and closer with every passing season. 5. Sevco. The real 5. Hebei Fortune. I think we've pissed off enough Rangers fans recently, so instead we've gone for Hebei China Fortune in our 5th spot. At just 6 years old, Hebei Fortune already have some superstars in Lavezzi, Gervinho and Stefan Mbia, but this isn't down to heritage or history. It's all about the Yankee dollar, and every foreign player in China is earning a fuck ton of it. With Manuel Pellegrini in charge, Hebei hoped that their fortunes would change on the pitch, as they finished runners-up in the CSL twice, but were well adrift in 7th last season. Their record in the Chinese equivalent to the FA Cup isn't too great either, with their furthest run getting to the quarter-finals. But with other CSL super clubs signing the likes of Alex Teixeira and Oscar, whilst Hebei are stuck with Gervinho out wide, it might well be a while before they're competing again. 4. Ingolstadt. RB Leipzig might be the German club that everyone hates, and with very good reason as well. But there's also a very young club that have risen up the German football ladder quickly, and that's Ingolstadt, who were formed in 2004. Unlike Leipzig, they were quite conservative with their money in the lower leagues, spending only 15 million in 14 years, with 12 million of that coming in the last 2 seasons. First arriving in the top flight in 15-16, Deschanza finished in a respectable mid-table position, but are currently battling relegation this year. Already engulfed in a relegation battle, it seems bleak for the outfit from Victor Frankenstein's favourite German city, who have already made one managerial change this campaign. 3. FC Copenhagen. Denmark's most successful club side are also one of the youngest, as they're a merger of one of the oldest sides in football, Copenhagen, and Boldklubben in 1903, forming FC Copenhagen in 1992. The Lions have won 11 Danish league titles and finished runners-up 6 times in 26 seasons, and as a result have been regulars in Europe, appearing 64 times in the Champions League and 74 times in the Europa League. Unfortunately for the Danes, they failed to progress past the 3rd round in either competition. The club is so young that the fans nominated Darmen Doy as the striker in their all-star team. That's right, it's the same guy who flopped at Hull and Sunderland. In his defence, he did bag 59 goals in 104 games for Copenhagen in the league. That is a pretty decent return. 2. New York City FC. NYCFC could well be a project set up just to get Paddy Vieira good enough to manage Manchester City, but after losing 7-0 on aggregate to eventual finalist Toronto in the semi-finals of the playoffs, Vieira's time in the limelight might be a bit far off. Part of the City global franchise, including Melbourne City in Australia, NYCFC was only founded in 2013, plying their trade in the Yankee Stadium and have even adopted the English-type fan culture. Unfortunately for NYCFC fans, the footballing world seems to laugh at them every time they attempt to show a bit of appetite for the game, mainly because their fierce rivals are also completely manufactured, and their attempt at fighting Red Bull fans look like an absolutely abysmal reconstruction of Green Street. In the Hudson River Derby, Red Bulls are winning on the pitch though, winning 5 games out of the 6 they faced each other, including a 7-0 win for the Bulls. 1. Pretty much every Red Bull team. The kings of newly founded teams, Red Bull are known to take over fading out clubs, completely denouncing their history and cladding them with sponsorship everywhere. There's 5 teams in their portfolio so far, including Leipzig, New York, Salzburg, Brazil, and even a side in Ghana. Global dominance seems to be the aim of Red Bull, and they were reportedly eyeing up an English side in the summer to the dismay of fans further down the football leagues. The suits over at Red Bull seem unwilling to compromise with any fan groups of the clubs they've taken over, and their commercialisation of football is becoming a concern to serious fans all over the continent. At Football Daily though, we have to play the devil's advocate as well. After all, Red Bull sides have certainly spruced up the leagues they're competing in. Leipzig are the best example, as they've climbed the divisions and have gone on to challenge for the Bundesliga in their first season in the top flight. They're also focusing on young rising stars and giving them a chance, with the likes of Naby Keita and Timo Werner flourishing, as well as Ralf Hasenhüttl developing into one of the best managers in the Bundesliga. How far is it going to go though? That's the serious concern, and we want to know what you think in the comments below. So there we have it, but what do you guys at home think? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, why don't you click here for loads more great content and down there to subscribe. And as always guys, we'll catch you later.